Hi everyone. Just give me a second. I'm just going to wait for a few more people to join and then bring Jyotsna into the conversation. Hi Parvati. Thanks Shruti. Hey Jyotsna, I just sent you an invitation to join. Hi.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe my volume is... Jyotsna, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. But I can't seem to hear you. Just give me a second. Just give me a moment, okay? Just give me a second.
Hi, Safi. Hi, Parvati.
Okay. Jyotsna, say something.
Can you hear me? Hi.
Not so well, actually. Can everybody else hear Jyotsna? Parvati, can you hear Jyotsna? Can someone just give us a thumbs up, please?
Okay. Parvati says she can hear us.
Just a minute. I'm just going to check my settings.
Yeah, and someone said Ragini Akara said I need to be a little louder, but I don't know if that's...
Yeah, you're probably far away from your device, Jyotsna.
Okay, I'll come closer. That's better?
No.
No? That's so strange.
Srimati, you can hear me. Parvati says you can be louder.
Like this? I'm like shouting.
Oh, no.
Volume, mic, setting phone.
The phones,
Should I
everybody says they can hear me, but they can't hear you so well. Maybe just check the volume on your phone, Jyotsna.
It is on full.
Joe, be louder. Yeah, Ragini says be louder.
Microphone.
Closer to the device.
Microphone volume.
Okay.
Microphone volume.
Now it's better?
Just a little better, actually.
Can I call my husband for help?
Yes, please. Feel free.
Just give me a second. I cannot do this.
That's exactly what I did.
Hold on.
Guys, please hang on. Don't leave. Just give us like
And this is
like a
when
couple of minutes.
instructions. When I've given them instructions not to be available for the next 1 hour. Everyone's locked in their rooms.
Jokey, you can try using your iPods.
Okay, let me try. Okay, need some help. They can't hear me. Why? But it's not the Wi-Fi. I think it's the volume of my phone. She said I could wear AirPods and do it. Okay, let me try that.
That way we get to see your sari as well, just so you can point to the camera and just show us what you're wearing. Lovely.
Thank you, Akhila. I have to tell you, I was very nervous tying the sari. It's been so long. Can you hear me now? No?
Do you want to change your device? Do you want to use your husband's phone maybe?
Let's see. Wait, I'm connected now.
Have you checked the volume on your phone?
Yes, it's on full.
So nobody can hear you, Jyotsna.
Okay. Connected. Is it any better?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Sorry, let me just go down.
Thank you everyone for patiently waiting while we saw.
Yes, thank you. Sorry.
All right. So Jyotsna looking lovely.
Thank you, Akhila.
And I love your
Okay.
earrings as well.
Thank you.
Okay, super. So, firstly, I must say that I'm super excited to be talking to Jyotsana Jagannathan, a dancer I have admired and who's also a friend of mine. We often discuss, we have many things in common to share and talk about. And I've also always admired how beautifully she wears her sari and always, almost always, makes a style and fashion statement of it. I think
Thank
this also
you.
marks Jyotsna's debut Instagram appearance, so to speak.
Yes, it
Uh,
does.
that's fantastic. But secretly, I must tell you that I'm super like jealous that you managed to like not succumb to the pressure to kind of I mean, you chose what you want to do and stuck with it, and that's fantastic. And we're going to be talking to you also about what your key takeaways by virtue of kind
Sure.
of we'll talk about all that
Yeah.
as we go along. But just allow
Yes.
me a moment to introduce Jyotsna formally to all of you. Jyotsna Jagannathan, a Bharatanatyam soloist who has toured the world with her dance, is known to bring to it a sense of passion, commitment, and intelligent execution. She trained under A. Lakshmanaswamy for several years and alongside learned a repertoire of pieces from Braga Bessel. Presently, she's under the mentorship of the much celebrated icon of Bharatanatyam, Malavika Sarukai. She's the recipient of the coveted award Ustad Bismillah Khan Yuva Puraskar from the Government of India and has received several other accolades and awards from dance organizations across India. Jyotsna has traveled to Egypt and the UK with Malvika Sarukai's much acclaimed group work, Tari the Loom. So Jyotsna, firstly, tell us
Yes.
what you're wearing today.
Okay, so I am wearing a silver gray tussar sari. And,
Okay?
when you asked me to do this last week, for the first time, I had no idea what I was going to do because all my saris are in Chennai. I
Oh,
literally have like 3 saris and 3 blouses here. And the saris that I have don't even match the blouses in any way. So I borrowed a sari from my mom who lives down the road, fortunately. And she was there. So yeah, this is my mom's sari. And my mom and I have very different taste. I don't think
oh,
I've ever borrowed her saris before. This is probably the first time.
but it's beautiful. It's very like you.
Thank you. It is. It is. I know. When I told my mom I need to borrow a sari, and I told her, send me whatever you have, and she's like, beggars can't be choosers. So just wear what I send you. Especially
But
because I always
Jyotsna,
say that our aesthetic is so different.
Why do you have all your saris in Chennai?
I still like to believe I live in Chennai and that I visit Bangalore on a regular basis. But yeah, that's why really. I get to wear the sari a lot more in Chennai, and I probably wear the sari only during Diwali or if I go to a concert in Bangalore. But yeah, the sari, I spend most of my time in Chennai in a sari. So all my
Right,
saris are there. Yeah.
right. I love the blouse as well. As always, you have like
Thank
aced it with
you.
your blouse.
Yes, I have mixed and matched to the
Of
best of
course.
my ability given the few choices.
That's lovely. Joseph, so I'm going to
Thanks,
ask
Akhila.
you, what about, what about wearing the sari really makes you feel so good? You probably wear it really often, right? I mean, it's not like, it's probably second skin in some sense, but still, I mean, I've talked
Yeah.
to so many women, and all of them say that something about the act of, wearing the sari just makes
Oh,
them
yeah.
feel really, talk to me about it.
Yeah, I think okay. So being a dancer, we wear sari for our practice. We wear saris for kacheris. We stitch saris into our own costumes. And I think each time, whenever we wear a sari, the sari kind of partners with us in a certain way.
Yeah,
And like the minute I wear a practice sari, I kind of get into a zone of serious practice.
right.
And then there's always the excitement of wearing sari to watch someone at a kacheri. And now, over the last few years, the insanity level has just gone up that,
Right.
I decide what sari to wear based on the performer, which is kind of crazy. But in my head, I have like
Really?
some kind of association that I make.
Oh,
And yeah, especially for the people that I'm very close to. So I have like a pre-season ritual every year where I take out a bunch of saris and then I match them with whatever blouse I think will work. And then I take a
Right.
pile of the best of my best combinations or my favorites, and I save
Right.
them for my favorite performers and performances.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
So,
not
okay,
that they're
Jyotsna.
going to notice what I'm wearing, but it just kind of makes me feel like I'm, special, and that I'm going to watch something very special.
Oh, that's beautiful. So I think Chris is here and
Yes.
he's been sharing. Oh, okay. So, Jyotsna, what would you wear to Chris's performance then?
Oh my God. Chris's performance would be the best sari. And it's the
Oh,
toughest choice because I know even if he's in the audience and he sees me at the end of the concert, he's definitely going to notice the sari and make a comment about it, or he would already have helped me decide it.
right. Okay. So,
And then, of course,
Jyotsna,
I have,
please go
yeah.
ahead. Yeah.
And then my other next favorite, my favorite is Maithili, but like with her programs, the sari that I wear has to be a functional sari as well. It can't just be a pretty sari because, I have to be backstage, or if there's something she needs or something, so it has to be like functional. And then with
Right.
Malavika's concerts, it's always something that will kind of, live up to her aesthetic or her expectations. So yeah, it's like crazy.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I had this question slotted for much later, but then
Yeah.
by virtue of that, your wardrobe also must be pretty like eclectic, right? Or do you think that all these people you're talking about, do they in a sense have, because all of them are obviously dancers and of dancers of,
Yeah.
very beautiful dancers. So in a certain way,
Yeah.
do they have one common unifying aesthetic?
I feel like they would all kind of have similarities because it also
Yeah,
matches my aesthetic, right?
right.
And the fact that we're also friends, so there's like a lot of sharing and there's a common thread for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Joseph, so tell us, when did you discover the sari? When did you fall in love with it?
Um, okay. So yeah, I was thinking about it, and to be honest, it's a very recent love actually, probably the last 10 years, so to say, only.
Okay.
And throughout my teens, I never wore a sari. I think I might have worn a sari once in college. And in fact, even at my wedding, I didn't want to wear a sari for every event. For my
Really?
unjal, I had a pavada davani made, and like it was all like, bits and pieces put together. I really didn't want to wear a sari for everything. But
Oh,
I think that I really started enjoying wearing a sari probably in my 30s, because I think it was also a time that I felt most comfortable being who I am. So the sari was almost like a celebration of me. You know, I felt so connected, I felt so comfortable, and it somehow just lends itself to, each person and their individuality. So for me,
yes.
the love for the sari has just been probably the last 10 years. And it's been fueled by my mother-in-law, who has impeccable aesthetics.
Okay.
So I think around the same time that I got married is when my love affair with the sari started as well.
Oh, that's lovely. So
Yeah.
would your mother-in-law be one of your like role models when it comes to wearing the sari in
Uh,
that sense?
I don't know. I don't really have any role models where saris are concerned, only because I feel like it's such a personal statement, and
Absolutely.
personal not just to who you are, but personal to how you feel on that day, or the context of why you're wearing the sari. So I don't really have any role models, but she's definitely one of the people I admire. And so yeah, I definitely admire the way she carries off the sari, and I admire her taste in saris, and the amount she knows about saris itself, you know.
So
So
you
yeah,
said that you don't normally borrow saris from your mother, but do you
but
think that your mom-in-law and you have similar tastes as far as the
oh my
sari?
God, I think most of my saris, whatever I wear is mostly my mother-in-law's. And
Oh,
all my favorite saris have been gifted by her. And she's probably the only person in the world that I can say, like, buy me a sari. Like, I will let her shop for me, of course, other than Chris. But yeah, so there's nobody else I would trust completely with buying me a sari.
wow. Okay. So Jyotsna, you
Yeah.
said that you can trust her and Chris. Now, what is that? What is that sort of unique, distinctive sari voice that that you have? Like, how do they know that this is something that Jyotsna will like? So, how have you sort of just the way you dance and you have a
Um,
distinct style in the way you dance? Do you think the
Yeah.
saris you wear also have a sort of distinctive quality about them?
Um, I think they do, but I'm also a little like bipolar sometimes with saris. I can be extreme, but yeah, sometimes I like literally swing both ways with saris. I have some saris in my wardrobe that are like, with bling and like things like that, which, and at the same time, I'm such a sucker for like very traditional saris. And I think that, yeah, I think that I really like simplicity in saris. I like tradition. I'm not very fond of, computer designs or florals. I like more solid
Yeah,
colors. I like the weaves better. I like motifs better, things like
right,
that.
right.
Yeah.
Jyotsna, I've also seen you wear a lot of plains, right? You wear like a lot of solids, right?
Yeah, I wear a lot of solids only because then it allows me to kind of freak out on the blouses. So I have I have fewer saris and than blouses, and yeah, I mean I have tons of blouses, and most of my blouses are pretty much made from anything. I mean, I have blouses made out of old cushion covers. I have blouses made out of I have blouses made out of like old purses where I've cut out the little borders from the purses and used them. I have blouses made out of like a mini skirt that I've completely outgrown. So yeah, I have like tons of blouses, and most of my blouses are all like, bits and pieces that I put together. I have blouses out of last year, my daughter's lehengas, the fabric I take, and then I can make a blouse in like patches of
Wow.
fabric.
You're like a blouse
So,
curator.
oh, totally, totally.
But Jyotsna, I mean, like obviously, then you have a thing for design, right? I mean,
Oh,
like
I
I could never
totally
do that.
do.
I have to just go to a store and pick. Like I'll
No,
see
no,
stuff, but I
I
could never. Yeah. So how did you sort of cultivate this eye for design and the ability to
you know,
actually execute it?
so when I came to India for college, it was the first time that I was forced to wear salwar kameezes to college, and I had never actually shopped for salwar kameezes or bought them before. And so I feel like that it kind of forced me to have to look into my wardrobe. And I
Right.
started buying fabrics, and because I also didn't know where to buy ready-mades, in Chennai. I just come here. I didn't really have a network of friends or anything. So my grandmother said, buy material and stitch it. And I was like, okay, that's the way to go. So she was like the only person I could consult about this. And yeah, so I ended up like and that's when this like
And you didn't know
I mean, I
Chris
was
then, I suppose, right? You
no,
didn't
no,
know
I didn't know.
Chris.
I didn't know anyone in the dance fraternity, in fact.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I started dancing much later. Yeah. So yeah, it kind of unleashed this potential inside me, and I started like buying fabrics. And I mean, I was crazy back then. Like I remember I wore like this checked salwar kameez to college one day. Like it was like a shirt fabric, like a gent's shirt fabric. And I
Yeah.
wore it with like collars and like these sleeves and everything. And I was so impressed with that. Okay. And I remember that I also used to wear sunglasses a lot. And this one day I went into my college, into our classroom, and I was wearing the shirt dress, and I was wearing sunglasses, and everyone shouted, "Day MGR Vandirkanda!" And it was like the worst. And the thing is, I was like, what are they even talking about? I was so confident, like so convinced of what I was doing. And then it took me a while to be like, oh my God, like I can't believe I did that.
This was in med school?
Yeah, this was in med school. And yeah, I think that's when I really started enjoying, buying fabric and matching it and putting it together and kind of designing my own college wear.
Right.
Even though it was simple, I really took a lot of effort and pride in whatever I made.
Right. And are you good at like drawing? I mean, how do you kind of like you work with a designer and like how do you do this? I'm really so curious.
I mean, I love to sketch. I like to doodle. I like to
Right.
draw out designs a lot.
Right.
Yeah, so I do it a lot. Yeah, and I don't
So
really
can
work with a
you
designer. I work with like a master who kind of, understands what I'm talking about.
right. And do you
Yeah.
like to kind of experiment a lot, even in terms of the styles itself? Or do you normally
Um,
wear like a
No, I don't really experiment too much with the styles. In fact, one of my friends always makes fun of me because she says it's like you go through phases, I'll go through a phase of like owning like 10 boat neck blouses. And then I'll go through a phase of owning like 10 3/4 sleeve blouses. And then I'll go through a phase of owning like, but the thing is like, I will like, yeah, sleeveless blouses. So I will convert my sleeved blouses into sleeveless blouses. Or
Wow.
so I do a lot of like recycling and,
Yeah. But
upscaling my stuff.
yeah, but that's great, right? Repurposing
Yeah.
is like such a fantastic thing to do. So
Yeah.
what about your saris, Jyotsna? Do you kind of repurpose them? Like how do you kind of like, when does a sari become a costume, or do you specifically buy a sari for the costume?
Most of the time I specifically buy a sari for the costume.
Right.
And again, I have rarely stitched an entire sari as a costume, I like to take the border from one sari and put it onto the body of another sari. And I will take a blouse piece from another sari and, kind of make it work. And so, yeah, I enjoy that. For me, and I feel like somehow I find that I kind of get to what I want when I mix and match a lot versus what is like, given to me or is available ready-made.
Right.
In
So
terms
it's
of
almost
even like colors and combinations and borders and things like that.
okay, so it's almost like choreographing a costume, right?
Yes, totally.
Okay, so I'm curious,
Yeah.
Jyotsna, about how you pick a particular costume. Maybe you can talk to us about one of your solo work and what went into picking the costume for it. How do
Um,
you does what you're going to present determine the color and the motifs and all of that?
um, that wasn't the case until very recently. And initially, I think, when I started to dance in Chennai, I really had no social circle or any friends in the fraternity or,
Right.
so I was very individual in that sense. It was like whatever I wanted to do or whatever I felt I would do. And I was very bold also at that point, in my early 20s in terms of my costume. I remember I wore like a gray with a burnt orange. And then they're not very conventional color
Yeah.
combinations for dance,
Right. For sure.
And and then at some point, you kind of start wanting to conform for some reason. It's almost like you need to fit in, and that, you're not sure how, if individuality is accepted as much. So I kind of started doing the more conventional costume combinations, red, green, gold, yellow, purple, things like that. And I think now I'm kind of, beginning to feel comfortable to take some risks again. And
Right.
most of my performances are Margam. So as I said, until recently, I never thought about, what I'm performing and what I wear until Chris put this kida, if I can say, in my head. And, he would be like, you can't do this wearing blue. And I'd be like, why? And then he would be like, but because of this. And now it's like automatic in my mind where I start visualizing the piece that I perform and the color and whether it kind of goes. So even if it's just traditional Margam pieces, somewhere I've started making associations of what will work with what pieces.
Right. So Jyotsna, what was the latest that you kind of performed where you actually bought a costume specifically for that?
The last performance I had was in Chennai at the Music Academy, and I wore a pink costume for that.
Oh.
And it was just a plain solid pink with shades of pink. But again, it was from 3 or 4 saris put together, even though they were all pink saris.
Okay, and what was your central piece like when you performed?
I did a Varnam Karahara Priya,
Okay.
Mohamahin. Yeah, but there's actually no logic to the explanation to why I would wear pink for this Varnam or why I would wear blue. But it's just some kind of association that's in my own mind.
Yeah, it's amazing, right? That we sort of have these, like we associate a certain type of color with someone. So it's interesting how we do that. Jyotsna, many years ago, when I used to work for a brand, which was incidentally in the space of aesthetics, the lady who runs that brand told me that what you wear is, in a sense, who you are. So I'm going to ask you about, do you believe in that? And do you think that sometimes what we wear, in a sense, represents our personality, so to speak?
Yeah. I definitely think what we wear does represent who we are to a large extent. It especially if you're very if you know who you are or you're sure of yourself, then it becomes that much easier, you know. And I think we all go through the phase where we're trying out things and we don't really know I mean, right from our body type to, you know, the kind of impression we want to give or how comfortable we feel in certain clothes. So I think it's, we eventually all find that comfort or that oneness with our clothes. And I think that's when it actually, you know, makes a statement because it is who you are. I mean, like I said, you know, I can swing both ways, and I also wear like saris with like bling, or I can wear like a yellow sari with like a hot pink blouse, or I can wear like something more subtle. But I think it also depends on, you know, how you feel, what the occasion is. And saris somehow they're like, you know, they bring their own personality to you. It's like a friend, you know, when I'm talking to you, you bring out certain qualities in me, or another friend. The energy exchange between a sari and, you know, it's huge.
Yeah.
So I think so I definitely think that the clothes do reflect who we are to a large extent. And I think that, you know, the more know ourselves and the more convinced we are of what we wear, or we're not willing to try or experiment as much.
Right. I mean, do you also think that sometimes, you know, a certain type of sari triggers different sorts of emotions? Like the sari that I'm wearing is like a light Panjavarnam, and it sort of makes me.
I'm wanting to see what you're wearing.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So this is like randomly one time I went to a sari store and like picked it up just randomly. It was like a sari that I just bought on instinct, you know. But you know, every time I wear this, it triggers a certain type of emotion, right? But I wear another type of sari and I feel like really so powerful. I wear something else and I feel a bit. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
totally.
Do you have those kind of moments with your saris?
Oh yeah. I have those moments all the time with saris, and more so when I change the blouses around. Like, you know, if I wore this sari with like a black blouse, it would make me feel completely different. Or if I wore this with like, you know, I don't know, like a deep purple, it would be something else. So yeah, I think the sari and the blouse, they definitely kind of, you know, make us feel a certain way, and they bring in their own set of emotions and their own set of, you know, feelings.
Right. Jyotsna, I want to talk to you a little bit about, you know, I mean, considering that you didn't essentially, like, your early years were not spent in Chennai. Am I right?
Yes. Yeah,
could you talk
that's
to
right.
us a little bit about, you know, how you sort of, you know, what was your influence of Indian culture while you were growing up in Africa?
Yeah, in Africa. Yeah. So I went to Africa when I was almost about 3 years old. And yeah, I mean, the early years of my growing up were just fantastic. I can't even tell you, Akhila, because, you know, we had absolutely no pressure. I mean, we would go to school from 8 in the morning till 10:30. And this was right up till 4th grade, okay? 8 to 10:30, that's it.
That's it.
And we had no, that's it. We had no television. We had no friends. I mean, there were like 10 Indian families in the place that I was in, you know? So I would come home from school and we would literally just spend hours and hours outside in our garden, climbing trees. And, you know, we had like a tire tied to a tree and my brother and I would just swing on it. And then in the evening, my mom would bake bread, fresh bread, because we couldn't even get bread at a store. And then, you know, we would pick vegetables from our garden for that evening's dinner. So life was so simple. And
sounds like a dream.
It really was a dream. And then I think we moved to Nairobi, which was in Kenya. And I think that was kind of my early teens, and, you know, my teens were spent there. And I definitely think that I was completely lost. You know, I really didn't know who I was or what my purpose was. Especially, I definitely had like an identity kind of crisis, because my mom is a very, unconventional person, you know. So we were brought up very unconventionally. So we somehow didn't really fit in with the other South Indians who were in Kenya, because they were very much, you know, almost in a time warp. They were like very like traditional and things like that. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't even remember celebrating a single Pongal in my life or anything, you know, because my mom was not the type. So and we didn't fit in with the South Indians, my brother and I. And I didn't completely connect to the other children in my school. You know, so I was kind of like so uncertain, and it was very complicated for me. And I didn't really relate to Indian culture in any way at all.
Wow.
you know.
And was dance a part of your life at that point,
Not
Jyotsna?
I mean, my parents had put me in a class, but I didn't enjoy it at all. So I would literally not go to class. And you know, I remember watching a performance of Ramaka. She had come to Kenya when I was just 13 years old, and I mean, I was just blown. I'd never seen anything like that in my life before, and I can still remember the sari she wore. You know, there was a dinner after the event, and she wore this white kanchivaram with a black border. And I
Wow.
mean, I just remember and thinking of her as like one of the most beautiful women I'd ever seen.
I can
You know, and
imagine.
same thing. When I came to India on one of my vacations, I was unwell, and I was at Sitapati, and Dr. Umaram, she
Yeah.
came in this cotton sari. And again, it was like one of these impressions, you know, when, you know,
Yeah,
you
it
can
just kind of
remember
stays
what
with
they're
you.
wearing, and you can just see. I mean, so many years later, it's like such a vivid memory for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I wasn't very connected with culture, but seeing Ramaka dance definitely made me like just find some kind of an instant connection to dance, you
Right.
know. And the thing is, my parents had been sending me to a dance class, but I never went and I never enjoyed it. So I didn't continue, or I didn't plan to go back. And then I saw
Right.
another performance, which again was very powerful. And it just so happened that the performer was Hema Govindarajan, and she had
Right.
come on an ICCR tour. And
Right.
within 2 months, and again, I was completely floored in that performance. I mean, I felt so connected, and I just felt so much at peace. And like, I mean, it was just such an aha experience for me. And
Moment. Yeah.
within 2 months of that performance, she moved to Kenya. And
Oh, yeah. I remember you telling me this. Yeah.
yeah, and then that's when I said, you know, I want to learn. I'm going to go to her and I'm going to learn. So I probably spent the last 2 years of my school learning dance from her. And so that was when I actually kind of connected to India and Indian culture and the Indian way of life. And she would talk to me a lot about India. And I mean, she was very passionate about India, very passionate about dance. And so, I mean, that was the turning point for me. And, you know, I told my
Right.
parents that I need to go to India. I want to live in India and I want to study in India.
Wow. That was the kind
Yeah.
of influence. Wow.
Oh, yeah. And it was just like something I just knew. I was like, I cannot go anywhere else and I have to go back to India.
This
And
was
yeah,
when
so
you
I came back.
moved to India to be in college, right?
To, I came to India for medicine. Yeah.
Right. Wow. Jyotsna, so it's surprising that you know, you let go of a career in
Yeah.
medicine after being through that journey to pursue dance full time. Can you talk to us
Yeah.
about what was that turning point?
Um, So the first year that I was in college, I didn't really dance much because I mean, I just moved to India and there was a lot of other stuff that I had to kind of, you know, get used to, right from being called MGR. So it was like many things that I was dealing with.
And Tamil,
And
what about Tamil?
oh yeah, Tamil as well. Like, oh my God, I have so many Tamil stories. It was like, I can't even say them here because it's so embarrassing.
See, tell us
Oh,
one.
no, no. I remember, so this one time that, okay, so my Tamil, whatever little bit I know is also a little Tambram Tamil. And from whatever, I mean, from my grandparents, right? And I had to take a case. And the first time, and they asked me to take the case in front of everyone in the class, you know? So it was just like a general case, pere, vaise, you know, all those things. And I think that it was a woman who was with hormonal issues. Okay. And I had to ask her if, you know where this is going. I had to ask her if she's losing a lot of hair. Okay. And I used the word that we would normally use for hair. And I was like, beep, ella romba kottrada. And the whole class just went berserk. And I didn't even get it. And I was like, dash romba kottrada. And she was so offended. So yeah, it took me a while to kind of figure Tamil out and all that.
Okay.
But yeah, so so I didn't dance the first year, but my second, third year were very relatively lighter years, and I really wanted to dance, so I did. And then final year again was very tough, so I took a break from dance.
Right.
But after that, I wanted to spend some time just dancing because I enjoyed it so much. And I took three months off from college to pursue dance full time. And really, that was all the plan. The plan was just 3 months of my life. And even that, it was like, you know, I made a deal with my parents. You know, I said that if I pass MBBS on time with my batch, then you have to allow me 3 months of just dancing.
Right.
and they were like, yeah, sure, because passing MBBS isn't, and I mean, I don't think they thought I would pass in my first attempt, but no, we were only like 50, only 50 of us passed out of 150. So it
Really?
isn't that easy. Yeah.
No, I think you must have been one of those class toppers.
Not class toppers, but yeah, I mean, I managed. So yeah,
Yeah.
they gave me 3 months to dance, and that 3 months is now what, 18 years? So
Wow.
yeah, but also it just so happened that the more I danced, the more I realized that um, dance really needs complete commitment, and a commitment of time, and complete commitment in every way possible, and I just found it so hard to kind of go from one zone to the other, or to switch off my dance. I just couldn't switch it off. So even if I was seeing cases or something, and there was like a 5-minute break, there would be something going on in my mind which was not related to medicine at all. And
Right.
I just felt like I was very consumed by dance. I enjoyed it. I felt so passionate about it. And yeah, I just really felt that, if I want to dance, then I can't do anything else. And I really wanted to dance.
Wow. But
So
that
I
must have
just
been
decided.
really sort of, how did your parents take, I mean, did they,
So yeah,
were they,
I mean, if it was up to my father, he would have probably never let me do that. But I also, sorry, I don't know where this is gone. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you, don't worry, yeah.
Yeah. No, so if it was left to my father, I don't think I could have made the decision. But I
Right,
also have happened to meet my husband around the same time. And,
right,
I would talk to him about how much I loved to dance, and how torn I felt, and how unhappy I felt when I wasn't dancing. And, and he
right,
was like, if you want to dance, you should just dance. And my father is very traditional. And so he said, it's between you and your husband. If he wants you, if he's okay with it, then you do what he's okay with.
yeah,
And yeah, my parents didn't really interfere too much at that point. And so
right.
I just decided to dance full time. So it
Wow.
wasn't that tough a decision. Somewhere I just knew that if I wanted to dance, then I would have not be able to do anything. Otherwise, I would have quit dancing.
Right. Jyotsna,
Yeah.
18 years ago to now, how has your relationship with dance evolved?
Um, a lot. I think initially, as I said, it helped me find my identity more than anything. I think it's because I found something that I connected, something that I could call my own, and something that I felt like, this is where I belong, this is who I am. And so dance really was, a way of finding myself. And
Right.
through the years, dance has changed. It's always been one of the most important thing for me. But I've had to navigate the other things in life, like marriage, family, children. We talk about
Children,
this all the time. But yeah, children. And I have two, okay?
I know.
But
That's
sometimes I
better
think that
though.
might be easier. No, but
It's
I
easier.
think it's a little easier, yeah. And I can see my daughter
I think
messaging
that's,
there saying hi. No,
hi.
that's Lasya.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's your daughter. Okay.
That's my
Lovely.
daughter. She's logged into Triumphat's account.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Jyotsna, how has dance helped you during this pandemic? What I mean, uh, how would you define your relationship with dance, and how has dance been sort of helped you sort of stay sane? Because everybody is sort of trying to find something that they're,
Oh yeah.
for me, it's been work. So
Yeah.
I've been asking so many people this question in terms of how have they held on to their passion to kind of stay afloat, because this is a very stressful time, right? Even though
It
everybody's
is.
talking
It
about
is.
how much time they have and all of that, despite that, there is a lot of, we're all dealing with insecurities and so many
Oh yeah. Yeah.
uncertainties. So,
Yeah.
how has
Yeah.
dance been sort of that anchoring
Um.
factor in your life?
So when the first, I think, 3 weeks of the pandemic, none of us knew how long it was going to go on for.
Yeah,
And initially it was the whole like excitement of being home, and spending time with family, and doing all the things that you could never do because you traveled, and because you were never around, and the baking and the craft and all that happened. And after 3 weeks, I just came to this point where I realized that whether or not I'm busy, or whether or not I'm traveling, there's only a certain amount I can do, or I enjoy doing, for that matter. And like, I mean, it was almost like a reality check for me. And, I constantly feel guilt as a mom who's not around for everything, that, yeah, it's always like, maybe if I wasn't traveling, then I would be able to bake cookies every week. Maybe if I wasn't traveling, I would be able to do this or that. And finally I just came to a point where like, wait, no, this is who I am. Whether or not I travel, whether or not I'm at home, this is how much I can do. So it was like a sense of liberation
Okay,
for
like
me
a
where,
sort of,
yeah, I just felt like liberated, saying that these are my boundaries. This is how much I can do, and this is how much I enjoy doing, and this is how much of myself I am willing to give. So it came to that, where the family was concerned, or on, with the children. But with my dance, again, there was like this huge realization, like, because I travel and, I spend a lot of time in Chennai, I spend a lot of time in Bangalore, I really find it difficult to find consistency, whether it's working out, whether it's my yoga, whether it's dance practice. And I've always said that it's because I travel. It's because I travel that I can't do it. But but here I was, with all this time and no travel, and I was struggling to find consistency. I was struggling to, have a routine for myself every day. And I also realized that unless I dance every day, I don't feel a sense. I mean, dance is a purpose for me. I really attach my identity or who I am or what I do with it. And so unless I danced every day, I was very unhappy and very, like restless. So this time has been great because I really found, I'm still finding, I haven't found, I'm still struggling with it, but it's like, it's been better, it's getting better. And I found ways to kind of motivate myself on a daily basis where my dance is concerned, and to kind of just practice. And, dance has been the anchor for me. Dance has been the purpose for me.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Jyotsna, what's the role of your mentor, like Malavika Sarkai? Like, she talks so much about rigor. Like, every time I've interviewed her, like, she will just be like, just have to keep dance. She's always like, even, she's never like saying that, okay, today is like my day off or something like that, So what is the role that she has played in helping you sort of further cement your relationship with dance, so to speak?
I think just even by virtue of example, Malavika Akka has been such a huge inspiration. Like, if you sit in one of her rehearsals, it is exactly like a performance. The amount she gives of herself to that rehearsal, whatever she does full on. And, I think when something as simple as dancing full pieces for me was not a habit when I came to her, so it's like so many things that she has changed, particularly with the work ethic. She has been very particular that things are done well in advance. Right from program announcements to choosing your pieces to choosing your costume, so I think that she's played a huge role in changing a lot of those things for me. And of course, she's such a giving teacher. And I think the thing with Malavika Akka is that she's as invested in her mentees finding themselves, as we are. So she will look at work and she will say things, but she will always leave it with, but if you feel strongly about it, then go ahead with it. So for her, it's always about us finding our individual voice, and for us to be convinced of what we're doing, and not for it to be something that she thinks we should be doing.
Right. So that sort of honesty, right? And sort of discovering your own. Yeah, lovely. Jyotsna, talk to us about Tari the Loom. That was that was a really interesting production you were a part of, and it toured the world as well. So talk to us about the central motive of that work.
I was a part of Tari the Loom from I think the very beginning, and I was very much with Malavika Akka and Sumantra when through some of the discussions and through the choreography stage. I was like almost like an apprentice or intern, watching so closely and listening in on their conversations. And it taught me so much about process, and it taught me how, somehow I always felt that, one has to arrive at a masterpiece. And through Tari, I realized that it is the many, 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 many drafts that one writes that, you finally come to something. So, and also the amount of attention to detail and the rigor of the practice. I mean, Malavika Akka had us almost practicing for 6 months before the first performance. Like, we were ready. We were just practicing for 6 months. The choreography and everything was done before, so it was a very beautiful experience, sharing with these wonderful young dancers as well. And also it taught us so much about the sari itself, and you know, the way she had conceptualized the performance, you know, about the loom and then the warp and weft, you know, the variables and the constant, and then the motifs, which are life itself, you know. And yeah, and how, like, you know, the progression in life, where the first motif was the parrot, which is, you know, all about love and flamboyance and celebrating yourself and, you know, that kind of thing. And then it was the peacock, which is about pride and arrogance and, you know, the self in a certain way. And then it was about the swan, which is, you know, the clarity of the mind. And so even in that, there was so much of philosophy involved. Yeah. And then, you know, finally the tassel, which is like, you know, the freedom of the warp and the weft and, you know, the motifs and everything. So it was a beautiful experience. And, you know, those, the learning that I got from that, you know, interaction with Malvikaka and Sumantra is just amazing for me.
Right. Joseph, do you you don't obviously practice medicine now, right? Like you're not...
I mean, I do. I mean, I don't practice medicine, but there's always somebody at some kacheri that will fall down or will hurt themselves. And it's always like, Jyotsana, our audience, it's so embarrassing, but I've had this like happen a few times, and I would go there and it would be like, you know, like a small cut or something, and it would be like a band-aid Congo. It's like pretty much that much. But like the expertise is always required.
Lovely. Okay, how much of your, you know, we've also been talking about how you've also used this time to take care of, and for a dancer, of course, the body is such an, like, you know, is the instrument, right? So could you talk about how you've also used this time to take care of your body? We talked a little bit about this, about, you know, eating right and creating mind space, right? Could you just share those experiences with us?
So I think I've always been a very goal-oriented person, you know, from the beginning. It's just been my temperament, nature, you know, I've moved from one goal to the other. And I think being a performer and a dancer in particular, it also kind of lends itself to that temperament, because, you know, you go from one performance to the other, or even again, as, you know, and also for me, like, as I said, I started learning dance only the last 2 years of school. So I was already learning dance with a time frame. You know, so it's like you start now, but in 2 years, you'll be done with this step. And then again, with college, my relationship with dance was always through the subjects of medicine. You know, now you have ophthalmology, ENT, and this. So you have these 6 months and you can dance. So again, it was very like goal oriented, and I went from performance to performance. And so I think that it's been the same with, you know, my dieting or my working out or losing weight, or, you know, even after my first kid, I was, I gained 25 kgs. And and I literally set a performance for myself 6 months from the date he was born. And I was like, I have to lose these 25 kilos by then. And I did. You know, I just did everything it took, but I burnt out, you know, and this constant yo-yoing of, you know, setting goals, achieving them, and then you just sit back and then you have the next goal to set.
Yeah.
It's tiring, you know, it really takes a lot of effort, and it's exhausting after a point. And again, these few months gave me that opportunity to reset that pattern, you know. And also, again, I had no goal. Like, what am I trying to lose weight for? What am I trying to work out for? I don't have anything like, you know, to look forward. There's no friend's birthday party or no performance. I want to wear a kacham or anything like that. You know, and that's when I kind of realized that I have no systems in place, and that I'm moving from one goal to the other. And it requires a constant pumping of energy, but then you're just burnt out, and then you have to develop that energy all over, like cultivate it all over again. Right. So I actually, you know, took help, because sometimes I think that's the best thing to do, you know. So I worked with a nutritionist, and I've been, you know, kind of fixing things, changing what I eat, when I eat it, how I eat it, and things like that. And I'm really, really happy with the progress I've made. And, you know, I just feel like now I have a kind of plan. I feel like I'm in control now, and it's not related to a goal. It's a way of life now. And
no,
of course,
actually,
I'm constantly.
I wanted to tell you at the beginning of the conversation, you're just really looking great. Your skin's glowing and you look like super.
Thank you. Thanks, Akhila. I mean, so do you, even though you've been working like over mean, I know you've been working super hard, but yeah, you look great too.
Yeah, thanks. Jyotsna, I just want to ask you two last questions before we sign off. One is, do you want to say something specific in terms of what have been your key takeaways from the lockdown that you'd like to share with the dance fraternity? That's number one. And finally, what's on your sari wish list?
Okay. So yeah, I mean, my key takeaway about the COVID and the whole dance fraternities, I really think that it's to each their own. You know, there is no right, there is no wrong. And I remember you had asked me to do something for Aalaap, and I said yes initially, and then I wasn't in that space to perform. I didn't. And you know, with performance comes judgment. With performance comes many things. And you know, now with social media, it's not just performing; it's also how much everybody says about that performance, and then you say it back, and so it's like it's a big thing, you know, and it's a cycle, and there's nothing wrong with it, and it's just that one has to be in that space, and one has to be willing to share that, to be able to do that. And yeah, so I really feel that everybody has to find, you know, what keeps them going, as you said, whether it's work, whether it's taking a seat back, whether it's performing online. I don't think we can judge. I don't think it's fair to be judging at this point, because each one of us has our own baggage. Each one of us is dealing with a different circumstance. And for a lot of people, I mean, I watched the interview with Mevin Anna, you know, and how he said that, you know, he doesn't miss performance. He misses the theater, but being able to watch performances has been big. And I mean, for me too, I've watched a few performances, but I've heard a lot of people, most of them have had conversations with you. And that has kind of kept me going. You know, so I really think that it's to each their own, and everybody just really has to do what they want to do and what they feel comfortable doing right now.
Right, absolutely. In fact, I read this beautiful article today about how even positivity can be toxic, and sometimes in our whole effort to say that we are positive, we're actually probably not feeling positive, but we're just kind of being toxic about feeling that. And the whole article was really about, finally, it's all about to each its own kind of thing. That was the sort of the...
Its own. Yeah, completely.
I'm so glad you said that. So Jyotsna, finally, let's close with the sari. What's on your sari wish list? When the pandemic is over and you have tons of money, what are you going to be shopping?
Honestly, I don't really have anything on my wish list. I've been wanting this one Panjavarnam sari, I think, ever since my wedding. And it's just that I wasn't able to afford it then, and I probably can't afford it now either.
Have you designed it already? Have you designed it already?
No, it's like a sari that many people have. It's just one of those, Jarike Kattam saris with like a Annapakshi and a coin butta alternate. So I've been wanting one of those for the longest time. I've also been wanting a nice Banarsi sari, like a really, with a pastel and something like that. So those are all my lust list. They're not my wish list.
I didn't know about this lust list. Yes, I must ask someone the next time.
I don't think I have a wish list. It's more a lust list.
Lovely. I see that your daughter and somebody has started having conversations.
I know. That's my daughter and one of my best friends.
Lovely. Thanks so much, Jyotsna. Thank you. It was such a pleasure chatting with you. I just want to end the conversation before Instagram warns me that the conversation, usually at the 59-minute mark, it's
okay, we get cut off.
Conversation gets disconnected. Thank you so much. I had so much fun chatting with you.
Me too. Thank you. And thank you. I got to dress up. I was literally shaking putting on eyeliner because I haven't in so long. So it was great. And I mean, I'm so happy to have worn a sari today. And it really made me realize how much I miss Chennai and I miss the sari.
Yeah. Once the pandemic is over, come back
and definitely.
Make sure you keep a few saris in Bangalore as well.
Yes, I know. I will.
Thanks, Jyotsna.
Thank you so much, Akhila. Thank you. Thanks all. Bye. Thank you. Good night.